Aries, let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt the air change around you, and you knew, deep in your chest, that something unseen was trying to reach you? Because tonight, your energy doesn't feel still. It feels stirred, as if a door you didn't even know existed just cracked open. And I need you to breathe with me for a moment. What I'm about to say isn't for everyone. It's for the Aries who's been feeling that strange pull, that restlessness in your bones, that whisper in the dark that called your name when no one else was around. You haven't imagined it. A force on the other side has been trying to get your attention. And it chose this exact moment to speak. Stay here with me. Because if your heart just tightened, if your spirit just leaned forward, then what comes next is the part of the message that was meant for you, and only you. Are you ready to hear why the shadow returned tonight? Aries, stay right here with me, just for a moment. I want you to really feel what's happening around you tonight, because whether you've noticed it or not, the air has been carrying a different weight, a quiet hum beneath everything, a kind of pressure that doesn't hurt, but does insist, almost like someone tapping gently on the inside of your chest, asking you to turn your attention inward. You didn't stumble into this message, it found you. It has been circling you, waiting for the exact second your spirit was ready to hear it. And now that you're here, I want you to breathe slowly, let your shoulders fall, and listen with the part of you that has always known when something bigger is moving in the unseen. Tonight, the energy around you isn't drifting the way it normally does. It's shifting, like a curtain being pulled back just an inch, letting a sliver of light spill through. There are moments in life, very few of them, when the boundary between this world and the next feels thin, almost delicate. And Aries, you're standing in one of those moments now. I don't say that to frighten you. I say it because your soul has been starving for the truth of who you are, the truth of why you're here, the truth of why lately every instinct inside you has been restless, alert, sensing something approaching long before your mind could name it. What you're feeling is the tremor that comes before revelation. A spiritual tremor, subtle but undeniable, like the ground shifting beneath your feet, even though you're standing perfectly still. And the reason it feels so strange is because it doesn't belong to this world alone. It's coming from somewhere older, somewhere wiser, somewhere that has been watching your story with the kind of patience only the unseen can hold. There is a presence trying to reach you, not to harm, not to haunt, but to guide, to intervene at a moment when your path, without even noticing, has drifted away from the fire you were born with. You, see Aries, there are certain souls whose lives pivot on moments like this. Moments when something invisible taps their shoulder and whispers, "Look again. Listen deeper. You've missed something important." And if anyone was ever destined to hear a message like this, it's you, the warrior spirit, the one who charges forward even when the road disappears beneath your feet, the one who breaks open new worlds simply by breathing honestly. But even warriors get tired. Even fire can dim when surrounded too long by the wrong kind of air. And the universe knows this. That's why it's reaching for you now, gently but unmistakably, before you take another step in a direction that no longer honors the truth inside you. So if your heart feels a little heavier right now, if your breath has slowed without you realizing, that's the signal. That's your spirit remembering something you haven't fully understood yet. Stay with this feeling, let it open the door just a little more. Because what's coming next isn't just an explanation, it's the beginning of a revelation that has been waiting years, maybe lifetimes, for you to be ready. And when you're ready, we'll step into the shadow that called your name tonight. Aries, tell me something quietly. Have you noticed how the air moves around you lately? Not in a dramatic way, not in a way anyone else would point out, but in those small, almost fragile moments when you're alone, when the world goes still enough for you to hear your own breath. Something seems to stand just behind the silence. I know you felt it. That slight pull at the back of your awareness. That sensation that someone stepped into the room, even though you know you locked the door. The soft shift in temperature that made your skin rise for a second before settling again. The way your name echoed inside your mind as if it wasn't your voice that spoke it. You're not imagining any of this. Your spirit has always been sensitive to movement in the unseen. You just learned to ignore it because the world taught you to trust only what can be measured. But there are things in this life, Aries, that don't obey the rules of measurement. They don't stand in front of you. They don't shout. They come in gently, like light slipping under a closed door. And lately, that light has been reaching for you. Not with fear, not with threat, but with urgency. What approached you wasn't a shadow of danger. It was a presence trying to bring you back to yourself. A reminder from the other side that you've wandered a little too far from the fire that once guided every step you took. Somewhere along the path, you dimmed your instinct, softened your truth, and convinced yourself that silence meant safety. But silence isn't your nature. Your nature is movement, heat, impulse, courage. This presence you felt, it wasn't meant to unsettle you. It was meant to wake you. There are moments in a person's life when the universe whispers instead of speaks. Most people never hear it. Most people don't want to. But you're different. You were born with a spirit that recognizes the slightest shift in truth. Even when you try to bury it, it rises. Even when you pretend you don't feel the pull, your heart still turns toward it. That is why the presence reached for you and not for someone else. Not because you are fragile, but because you are receptive. Not because you are lost, but because you are needed. And if you let yourself pause right now, if you let the memory of that moment surface without trying to explain it away, you will realize something important. It didn't come to harm you. It came because you've been running on a path that no longer aligns with the rhythm of your soul. It came because something inside you has been whispering for a long time, hoping you would finally slow down enough to listen. This was not an omen of fear. It was a sacred interruption, a small crack of light in the middle of your night, showing you that your story is about to shift in a way you didn't expect. And Aries, if a part of you feels strangely comforted right now, even in the mystery of all of this, that's the confirmation. Something is guiding you back to yourself. And now that you've allowed your heart to open just enough to feel it, let me take you deeper into what this presence has been trying to tell you about the life you've been living. Aries, I want you to sit with me for a moment. Not as someone listening to a reading, not as a sign in the zodiac, but as a human being who has been carrying far more than anyone realizes. You've been strong for so long that the world assumes strength is the only language you speak. But I know better. I know what happens behind that silent bravery. I know the way you breathe in a little deeper at night, hoping it will ease the heaviness you can't quite name. I know the quiet moments where you stare at the ceiling, wondering why life feels like a race you didn't mean to enter. On a road you didn't choose, you've kept yourself standing. But somewhere along the way, without meaning to, you stepped into a version of life that doesn't feel like yours anymore. A life shaped by expectations, by responsibility, by the fear of disappointing people who only saw the fire in you, not the cost of keeping it burning. And when you stop long enough to listen, really listen, you can feel the truth vibrating underneath everything. You've been running on a path that no longer honors the person you're becoming. There is nothing weak about that realization. In fact, it takes a rare kind of courage to admit that the life you built with your own hands is no longer the life your soul wants to live. Somewhere inside you, in a place you don't show anyone, a quiet ache has been forming. Not sadness, not defeat, just a soft, persistent emptiness. The kind that appears when a fire burns, without oxygen. A reminder that even the strongest flame can dim when it's forced into the wrong shape. And Aries, you have been bending yourself into shapes that were never meant for you. You've tried to become more patient than your spirit allows, more quiet than your nature can bear, more agreeable than your truth can tolerate. You've held your tongue to keep the peace. You've stayed when every instinct screamed to move. You've smiled through situations that drained you, simply because you didn't want to be the one who let anyone down. But in doing that, you've started to let yourself down. That hollow feeling isn't failure. It isn't a flaw. It's a signal, a message from the deepest part of you saying, this isn't where you thrive. This isn't where your fire grows. And the presence that brushed against you, the one that called your name in the quiet, came because your soul is reaching a breaking point. Not a breakdown, but a breakthrough. A moment when pretending no longer fits, and the truth begins to rise like heat through your chest. You're not meant to live a life that dims you. You're not meant to walk a path that requires you to shrink, soften, or silence the wild wisdom inside you. You came here to ignite, not to endure. And every piece of discomfort you feel now is just the universe tugging gently at your sleeve, whispering, come back. Come back to the life that belongs to you. Come back to the fire you forgot you had. So, let this be the moment you stop apologizing to yourself for wanting more. Let it be the moment you admit that the version of you living this life isn't the version that was born to rise from it. And as you breathe into that truth, notice how something inside you shifts, almost imperceptibly, as if preparing for a movement you can't yet see. Because what comes next, Aries, is the first tremor of the future that's already calling your name. Aries, come closer for a moment. I want to talk to you about that feeling you've been trying to ignore, that strange uneasiness sitting just beneath your ribs these past few days. It didn't come from stress. It didn't come from fear. It came from movement. Movement you cannot yet see, but your spirit has already sensed. You've always been the kind of soul who feels change before it arrives. Not in a loud way, not in the dramatic fire people expect from you, but in the quiet tension, like the air holding its breath right before a storm breaks open. And lately, that tension has been building around you with a kind of purpose that isn't random. Something is rearranging itself in the fabric of your life, slowly at first, then all at once. And even though you can't articulate it, you know what I'm saying is true. You can feel the edges of your world shifting, as if the universe is gently but firmly turning you toward a direction you hadn't planned to walk. This isn't the kind of change you map out on paper. It's not the kind you negotiate with. It's the kind that rises from a place deeper than logic, a quiet insistence from the universe that whispers, you can't stay where your soul is shrinking. And Aries, you have stayed in places where your spirit no longer breathes freely. You've outgrown the room you're standing in. You've outlived certain versions of yourself that the world kept expecting you to be. And the truth is, the life that once felt familiar has become too small, too tight, too quiet for the fire you've been suppressing. That's why the uneasiness feels so strong right now. It's not dread, it's pressure. The pressure that appears right before a breakthrough, right before movement, right before a life tilts toward a new horizon. Some shifts in life are chosen, but the one forming around you isn't one of them. This shift chose you. It's bigger than a decision. It's a calling, and you can feel it every time you think about leaving the places that have dulled your instincts, every time you imagine stepping away from the people who no longer match your frequency, every time the thought of starting over flickers in your chest like a spark finding oxygen. A new path is emerging, even if you can't see its shape yet, a path that pulls you toward a life with more breath, more space, more truth. And whether you admit it or not, a part of you already knows you're not meant to remain in environments that dim you, contain you, or hold on to a version of you that's no longer alive. This turning point you're standing in, it isn't chaos, it's alignment. It's your life rearranging itself so your spirit can finally stretch again. And if you listen closely, beneath the uncertainty, there's a faint sense of anticipation, a knowing that something is coming, something that feels strangely familiar, even though you've never lived it before. Let yourself feel that. Let yourself breathe into the possibility that maybe, just maybe, the universe is guiding you more gently than you realize. Because if you follow that feeling, if you allow it to open just a little wider, you'll begin to understand the pull of the place that has quietly been calling your name. Aries, let me sit here with you for a moment, right in the quiet of where you are, because something in your energy has been shifting, not loudly, not chaotically, but in that deep internal way you don't talk about. The kind of shift that doesn't show up on the outside first. It begins in the chest, in the breath, in that restless feeling that makes you stare at the horizon a little longer than you used to. There is a place calling you, not a destination on a map, not a quick escape, something more ancient than that. A place where your soul recognizes the air before your feet ever touch the ground. And you can feel it, can't you? That subtle pull toward the unknown, the longing to step outside the rhythm you've been forced to move in, the quiet desire to go somewhere you can finally exhale without shrinking yourself to fit the room. It doesn't matter whether this place is physical or spiritual. What matters is that your heart has already begun migrating toward it. Every moment of discomfort you've felt lately, every sigh you didn't mean to release, every time you caught yourself imagining a life that feels bigger, cleaner, more alive, all of that has been part of the same message. Your soul is asking for space. Space to breathe, space to return to its full flame, space to remember the version of you that didn't apologize for wanting more. This isn't impulsive, and it isn't running away. It's alignment. a quiet, undeniable alignment with where life is trying to send you next. You've spent so much time being strong in the places that dimmed you. You've spent so long being loyal in rooms that never truly held you. And now your spirit is tugging gently at your sleeve, whispering, "It's time to go where you are seen, where your energy isn't a burden, but a blessing, where your fire is not too much, but exactly what the space has been waiting for." That's why the urge to leave certain environments feels so heavy right now. You're not tired of life. You're tired of the life that is too small for you. And the presence that brushed against you tonight, the shadow that called you by name, wasn't warning you of danger. It was pointing toward the path you've been hesitating to admit you want. It came as a messenger, nudging you toward the version of yourself that has been quietly waiting on the other side of this chapter. Sometimes a calling doesn't show up as a voice. Sometimes it arrives as restlessness, as a sudden clarity that you can't stay where your heart no longer grows, as a feeling that something out there is pulling you forward. Not because you're running from anything, but because you're finally ready to run toward yourself. So, if you feel drawn to distance, if you feel the urge to step into a new landscape, a new chapter, a new breath, know this: the calling is real. It's not fantasy. It's not escapism. It's the truth beneath everything you've been pretending not to feel. And if you listen closely enough, if you allow the pull to speak instead of pushing it away, you'll notice that it's not just calling you outward, it's calling you inward, back to the light you thought you lost. Follow that feeling for just a moment longer, Aries, because the next sign appearing on your path will help you understand exactly why this new beginning is being prepared for you. Aries, stay with me for a moment. Let the world slow down just enough for you to hear what's been happening inside you, because something in you has been stirring, quietly but unmistakably, like a heartbeat that just woke up after years of sleeping through its own rhythm. You've been feeling it, haven't you? That strange impatience with things that used to satisfy you. That sense of outgrowing rooms you once fought so hard to fit into. The way your spirit has started nudging you, not loudly, but insistently, as if whispering, "You're not meant to stay this small." It's not frustration, it's emergence. There is a new version of you rising from inside your chest, pressing against the walls of the life you've outgrown. A version that refuses to dim itself just to make others feel comfortable. A version that wants to breathe fire again, not to destroy, but to finally light your way. And Aries, this awakening didn't come out of nowhere. It came because you've spent years carrying more than you let anyone see. You held yourself together through storms you never named. You kept showing up even when the world had no idea how close you were to breaking. And somewhere along the way, you stopped hearing your own roar. But tonight, something changed. Tonight, something ancient inside you stood up. Not in anger, not in fear, but in recognition. That shadow that brushed against your awareness. That presence you couldn't explain. It wasn't trying to frighten you. It was trying to remind you. To tap the shoulder of the warrior who has been too quiet for too long. To call forward the part of you that remembers who you were before life asked you to shrink. Because you're not meant to be calm fire. You're meant to be living fire. Fire that moves. Fire that chooses. Fire that refuses to burn in silence. And if you've been feeling detached from old routines, from old conversations, from old versions of yourself, that's not you losing interest in life. It's life losing its grip on a chapter that no longer holds your truth. You've outgrown more than you realize. You've healed more than you give yourself credit for. And your soul is starting to rise into the space you've quietly prepared for it. This is why you feel like you're stretching past your own skin. Why the world feels tight in places where it used to feel familiar. You are becoming someone fuller, someone truer, someone your past could not contain. And Aries, this awakening is not a demand. It's an invitation, a gentle one, but powerful. It's the universe leaning close, saying, "You're ready now. Step into the life that matches your spirit. So, breathe. Let your shoulders drop. Let your heart expand just a little. Because this rising inside you is not chaos. It's alignment. It's your courage resurfacing. It's the first spark of a destiny that is finally beginning to match the size of your soul. And as that truth settles into you, as you let it move through the quiet spaces you never show, you'll start to notice something else awakening around you, something that has been waiting for precisely this moment to reveal itself. Aries, let me sit a little closer with you here, in this quiet space you don't offer to many people, because now, that your inner flame is rising again. Something else is happening around you, almost like the air is rearranging itself in your favor. You may not see it clearly yet, but the moment you begin stepping out of the old world begins releasing you, and the people in it. They reveal themselves in ways you never expected. Some drift away without a word. Some stop showing up in the ways they once promised. And I know that can sting, even for a warrior like you. But Aries, listen closely. This isn't rejection. It's alignment. Life is quietly sorting the energies that cannot walk beside you anymore. Not everyone is meant to witness your rising. Not everyone is meant to breathe the air of your next chapter. And the universe, in its own wise and sometimes painful way, is making room for what actually belongs to you. You'll notice something gentle happening inside you as this shift unfolds. A soft acceptance, a strange relief, a sense that you're no longer willing to carry what weighs you down just to keep the peace. And in that clearing, new footsteps begin approaching. Because the truth is, your next chapter is not meant to be walked alone. Somewhere out there, someone has been moving toward you at the exact same pace you've been growing, not to save you, not to complete you, but to meet you. There is a soul, maybe one, maybe more, whose energy resonates with the fire in your chest rather than shrinking from it. Someone who won't flinch at your intensity or ask you to be smaller so they can feel bigger. Someone who recognizes your power not as a threat, but as a blessing. And when they appear, it won't feel like a surprise. It will feel like remembering, like meeting someone your spirit somehow already knew long before your eyes ever did. This could be an ally who offers clarity at the exact moment you needed direction, or a guide who opens a door you didn't even know existed, or a love, a real love, one that doesn't fear the heat of your fire, but stands beside it unafraid, knowing their own flame can hold steady beside yours. And Aries, when you meet these souls, notice how your body reacts. Notice the ease. Notice the way your breath settles instead of tightening. Notice how you don't have to negotiate your worth or disguise your brilliance. These are the people who belong to the landscape of your becoming. You won't have to chase them. You won't have to explain your hunger for something bigger. They will see the whole of who you are, not just the parts you've been allowed to show. And something in you will relax for the first time in a very long time. It's strange, isn't it? How life brings the right people not when you are strongest, but when you finally stop pretending you're not tired. When the mask slips, when the truth softens your voice, that's when the souls meant for your journey can finally find you. And as they begin to gather, quietly, naturally, almost invisibly, you'll feel the shape of your life shifting again, preparing you for something you have sensed but haven't dared put into words yet. Because the presence of the right people always hints at the arrival of something even greater, something already moving toward you in the dark, waiting for the perfect moment to step into the light of your path. Aries, listen to the quiet of this moment. Not the silence outside you, but the silence inside your chest. There's something different about tonight, isn't there? Something you can't quite name, but you feel it. Like the air is holding its breath with you, waiting for you to notice what's shifting beneath the surface of your life. This evening is not ordinary. You can sense that. Your body knows it before your mind does. There is a subtle trembling at the edge of your awareness, the kind that happens when a doorway you didn't know existed begins to open itself from the other side. And Aries, that doorway has your name on it. What reached out to you tonight wasn't a warning of danger. It was a threshold. A beginning disguised as a whisper, a reminder that your soul has wandered too far from its own fire, and something divine is calling you back before the distance becomes too great to ignore. You see, a message from beyond doesn't arrive when life is calm or stable. It arrives when destiny is rearranging the timeline in your favor. And right now, you're standing at the start of something powerful enough to rewrite your story from the inside out. Not because you failed, not because you're lost, but because you're ready. The universe never rushes Aries. It waits until the exact moment your inner flame becomes strong enough to see through the illusions that once held you still. And tonight, the flame is awake. You feel that, don't you? A small but undeniable clarity rising beneath your ribs. A knowing that you cannot return to who you were, even if you tried. And this is where the truth becomes gentle, but firm. When your spirit ignores its calling, life steps in. It nudges, then it pushes. And if you still resist, it shakes the ground beneath your feet so you can no longer pretend you don't feel the shift. But you're different tonight. You're listening. You're aware. You're open in a way you haven't been for years. And that openness is the key. It is what allows the next chapter to arrive without force, without chaos, without tearing apart the parts of your life that are still tender. If you take even one step toward what you know is meant for you, the path ahead will respond. It will clear. It will brighten. It will feel like alignment rather than effort. Because the truth is, you're not walking into the unknown. You're walking into a version of yourself you were always meant to remember. And Aries, you are not doing this alone. There are hands guiding you, even the ones you cannot see. There are eyes watching over you, even the ones you no longer speak to. There is a presence that has been waiting patiently for the moment your heart cracked open just enough for courage to slip through. Tonight is that moment, so breathe slowly. Let this truth settle into your bones. Let it soften the fear and strengthen the fire. You are being led back to where you belong, back to the life that matches your spirit, back to the destiny that has been waiting, untouched, unbroken, unbearably beautiful. Follow the pull, Aries. Follow the warmth. Because something extraordinary is already moving toward you. And the moment you trust this calling, the entire universe will shift to meet your next step. Aries, before you go, let me leave you with this truth that just rose through the energy as clear as a bell. What happened tonight? What you felt in your chest? What brushed against your awareness? It wasn't random, and it wasn't subtle. It was the universe choosing this exact moment to tap you on the shoulder and say, "Wake up." Your story isn't finished. Your fire is needed again. You are stepping into a chapter where nothing will look the same. Not the people around you, not the way your heart beats, not the way your soul recognizes its own path. And I promise you this, what's coming toward you is bigger than what you're walking away from. If something tonight stirred your spirit, even gently, even just for a second, tell me in the comments, "I'm ready for my rebirth." Say it so the universe can hear you. Say it so fear loses its grip. Say it so your next step arrives a little faster. And, Aries, don't forget to subscribe, not for the algorithm, but because your journey is shifting so quickly now that missing the next message would be like closing the door just as the light finally finds you. This space, this channel, is your fire circle. A place where you're not too intense, not too much, not too fast. A place where other Aries souls are rising with you, learning with you, remembering themselves with you. You're not alone in this awakening. Not tonight, not ever. And as you breathe out now, slowly, feel the echo of something approaching. A sign, a confirmation, a moment that will tell you with absolute certainty that what you heard tonight was real. The next message is already on its way to you. Stay close. Your destiny is just beginning to unfold.